Today we're taking a look at the DJI OSMO Action, and in this video I'm going to give you guys an overview of its specification and features, as well as show you some of the footage that I've been taking with it over the last couple of weeks. The OSMO Action is capable of recording in 4K up to 60 frames a second and also can do HDR video. It also has slow-mo mode and can do up to 240 frames a second in 1080p. It's also the first product from DJI to use their new electronic image stabilization called DJI RockSteady. It has front and rear mounted LCD screens and a 0.5-inch CMOS sensor. Looking around the camera, you will find various buttons and LEDs. On the top, you have a power and display button, as well as the record button on the right-hand side. And then on the other side of the camera, you have a quick select button, which allows you to change the LCD screen, as well as quickly select different modes on the camera. Moving round to the other side, you have a door which houses the USB-C port, as well as the SD card slot. The OSMO Action uses a 1300 mAh 1S battery, and it actually forms part of the waterproof housing. You clip it into the bottom and simply press down until the two latches lock in place, and there's a little indicator so you can make sure that the camera is tight and waterproof. On the back, you'll find the nice large 2.25-inch touchscreen display, which has a resolution of 640 by 360. Moving round to the front, you will then find the colour 1.4-inch 300 ppi display as well. Now this one isn't touchscreen and it is just for viewing. Taking a closer look at the main spec, as I said, it's a 0.5-inch 12 megapixel sensor capable of 4K 60 frames a second up to 100 megabits a second. It can do HDR video to 30 frames a second. It can also do 240 frames a second in slow-mo. It has dual stereo microphones and has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in for smartphone connectivity. As I've said, both screens are fully colour, and it is waterproof down to 11 meters as well. By swiping down from the top, you reveal this quick menu, which gives you the options for profile, screen brightness, and the ability to lock the screen as well. In the top right-hand corner, you have the main menu button, and along the bottom, you've got the rotation settings, the auto exposure settings, the voice control, as well as the options for the front screen. Looking at the main settings, you have the options for voice control, snapshots, quick switch button, the wireless connection options, wind noise reduction for the built-in microphones. You have the sound options, grid, anti-flicker, screen sleep settings, as well as the auto power off option at the bottom. You've then got the LED functionality, the language and date and time settings. Finally, below this, you then have the options to format the SD card, reset the camera, and give you the information about it from the About screen. As I mentioned, one nice little feature is the built-in screen lock, and to disable this, you simply swipe up from the bottom once it's been activated. Taking a look at the resolution options, you've got 4K 4:3 as well as normal 4K between 24 and 60 frames a second. You'll notice that RockSteady is available in 4K normal but not 4:3. Moving along next, you've then got 2.7K 4:3 and you've also then got normal 2.7K as well. Again, this allows up to 60 frames a second. Then in 1080p, you can do up to 240 frames a second. However, RockSteady is only available up to 60 frames a second. Once you go above 60 frames a second, you are limited to having no image stabilization. Swiping from the right will bring up some quick options for the camera EV and max ISO settings, and you can adjust the EV by simply tapping and scrolling up and down, and you can also set the maximum ISO that you want the auto ISO to go to. Clicking it across into manual will give you full control over the ISO, shutter, and allows you to set the camera to the exact option that you want to use it on. Then, moving down to the camera button, you've got the options for auto white balance, the color profile settings, as well as the camera's de-warp setting as well for the image. You can then scroll down further and set the image format, whether it be MPEG-4 or Movie for recording. As I mentioned, you've also got the quick button on the left hand side, which allows you to select between various options. So you can choose a quick option depending on what you've set, and you can change this from within the menu option in the top right hand corner, and you can add and remove features that you would like to use quickly in the future. You can also play back your footage on the camera itself by swiping from the left and hitting the play button. There is also a very nice feature on the Osmo Action, which is voice control, and it allows you to control various parts of the camera simply by talking to it. Start recording. Stop recording. Take photo. Screen. Screen. Shut down. Now, as with all action cameras, they're generally always going to be compared to a GoPro. And for my tests, I was comparing it to my GoPro Hero Hero 5. And the first thing I wanted to do was see really how the RockSteady image stabilization compared to the GoPro that didn't have any stabilization turned on at all. So the first thing I did was strap it to my daughter's scooter and sent it off with it attached with both the GoPro and the Osmo Action. And as you can see, the RockSteady actually works extremely well, and it does take out pretty much all of the bumps and all of the jumps while she was scooting down this bit of pavement. Now, that RockSteady image stabilization does come at a little bit of a cost, and you can find it does soften the image slightly, especially when you are using it in the harshest conditions. However, it does do a fantastic job of removing all of that image movement whilst you are using it. Now, I tried it in multiple places, and again, this is it on just the GoPro, and then I switched over now to the Osmo Action, and as you can see, whilst it is still moving around, it is substantially better than you would have with the camera without it. Testing it in cloudy conditions, we have the Osmo Action here, and I just wanted to show you guys how it looked compared to the GoPro in these situations and how the colours differ slightly between them. The first bit of footage was the Osmo Action, and this bit of footage here is the GoPro. Again, both set to the same resolution, and the idea really is just to show you how each camera looks compared to the other. Now, in my observations, the DJI does actually have quite a bit more detail than my Hero. Even though they are both in 4K 30 frames a second, they do look slightly different. And in this still image here, again, it is a still straight from the camera, and this is the other one that I took on the GoPro. Unfortunately, my finger got in the way, and when I zoomed into them, whilst the colors look a little bit better on the GoPro, you can see that the DJI tends to have a little bit more detail. I also took the camera away with me for the weekend when I went to see the Stereophonics in Swansea, and in this bit of footage I was basically walking back and I just had it in my hand, and again I'm just demonstrating what the RockSteady image stabilization is like, and to be honest I was moving around quite a lot at this point as well. I also tested it at various points in the concert as the light was going down, just to demonstrate really what the audio and what the video does look like. Now again, with all of these small sensored action cameras, as soon as the light does start getting dark, they do tend to find that the noise in the image does build up, and I hadn't actually set the ISO to limit as much as I probably should have. It did have the availability of the maximum ISO, but again, considering the set of conditions, it did actually cope with this very, very well overall. The last thing I want to touch on is using the Osmo Action with the DJI Mimo app, because you have the ability of controlling the camera either in live view via the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So you simply open the app and click on connect, and as long as it's turned on the camera, after a few seconds the connection will kick in and you will get the live feed come up on the screen on your phone. Now the nice thing about this is you have the ability to change all of the settings that you can do, but do it wirelessly. So if you're not actually right next to the camera, you can do these things with remotely via your phone. So you can set things like the resolution and frame rates, change the slow motion options on 720p or 1080p, do the HDR video settings. You've got the option for resolution and frame rates in video, and then you've got the still photo options. So you've got single, AEB options, multiples, time lapse, and again, all of the standard features that you would get whilst using it via the camera itself. You can even change some of the stuff like the shutter speeds, the ISO settings, go into manual and auto, and mess around with the ISO settings, and again, just be able to set your camera up exactly how you want to do it. You've then also got the main menu options too, which allows you to set the format, the SD card, format it, and again, do everything that you need to do, but just do it remotely. Included with the Osmo Action is a number of accessories, including a cage and 2 quick release bases. Now they do use the standard mount pretty much everybody else uses, and the cage allows you to mount the camera and fix it onto accessories for mounting on helmets, bikes and things like that. Now the cage doesn't really add anything for waterproof, it's simply to hold the camera itself. Now you place the camera in by undoing the latch on the top, sliding the camera in from the back and locking it down, and as I mentioned, it is compatible with the accessories from pretty much all of the usual suspects. Now DJI have done something quite nice with the quick release mounting system on the base that allows you to press it, twist and unlock, and we haven't really seen anyone else do it this way before. And again though, you can use the cage with all of the standard GoPro accessories. Okay, before we finish this video, I'm just going to give you guys a little bit more information and my personal thoughts. Now, I've been using the Osmo Action for a couple of weeks, and I have to say, I really like this little camera. Now, I want to explain something around this GoPro that I was using, and this is a 2018 Hero Edition, and the reason I'm using that in this video is that it's actually a modified one, and it is basically the same as a Hero 5 Black. I didn't want to compare it to a GoPro Hero 7 Black because everybody else has done it that way, and in my opinion, you're generally going to be looking at buying either the Hero 7 Black or the Osmo Action when you're looking to upgrade, and I wanted to compare it to what I've currently got and if I felt it was worth going for compared to that. Overall, I do feel that having used the GoPro Hero 7 Black, the Hero 6 and all of them, the DJI is a much better camera. The image quality is very good on the DJI, as it is on the GoPro as well. I do think there is a little bit more detail in the DJI when I do look at the images closely. The color profiles are slightly different on the cameras, but all of that can be changed in the settings, whether you're using the DJI manual settings or you're using the Pro settings on the GoPro. But both cameras do provide very good image quality. Now, for me, the big benefits of the DJI over the GoPros are as follows. The front screen is an absolute deal breaker for me. It makes a massive difference when you're trying to use the camera for framing. You don't have to worry, am I in view? Have I moved out of view? You just have an idea of what's going on. And whilst it isn't the biggest screen, it does what it needs to do, and it is, as I've said, for me, a deal breaker. The back screen is also fantastic as well. It's really large, really sensitive, and it gives great image quality too, and it's really easy to watch what you've recorded and play it back without any issues. Now, that leads me into the next big thing for me, and that is the menus. The DJI menu system is just so much easier to use than any of the GoPro's ones. I've always found the GoPro's a little bit clunky in the menus. Having used lots of DJI gear, it was just easy to use, simple, intuitive. You swipe down from the top, you get straight into the main menus. You've got the quick options. You can then hit the main button to go down and format your SD card. You swipe from the left, you can play back. You swipe from the right, you get the manual settings. So, you know, it is very easy and straightforward to use. And that makes a difference for me, because when you're out and about and rushing around, you don't want to be messing around trying to figure out which one should I use. I also love using it with the DJI Mimo app. It connects really quickly, and it allows you to use it externally, and I know GoPro have one as well, but I've always again found it just a bit clunky. The DJI one just works for me without any problems at all. Now, when I compared the two, obviously I'm comparing the GoPro to the DJI, which has RockSteady when the GoPro does not have any image stabilization. Now, there are lots of videos out there comparing it to a Hero 7 Black, and the overall consensus is the DJI RockSteady image stabilization is a tad better. That does come at a slight cost of crop, in the sense of when you turn image stabilization on, it crops the image in a little bit, and you do find the DJI crops a little bit more than the GoPro, but it gives you better image stabilization as a result of that. Now, something I will mention is that when RockSteady is turned on, there is a lag between the image you see on the screen and what's actually being captured. For some people, this does seem to be an issue. It wasn't a problem for me. There is up to 2 seconds, depending on what you're recording, lag between what's on the screen and what's being recorded, and you can sort of see the movement and then the screen moves. I know DJI are working on this, but for me, it really isn't a big problem. If you're in a situation where you don't need the RockSteady, you can turn it off and that lag goes away. It is only there when you are using the RockSteady image stabilization. But again, most of the time I am using it for framing, and as long as I can see I've kept myself within frame, I'm happy, and it didn't cause me any problems at all. Something just to mention between the two, the only real downside of the DJI compared to the Osmo is the fact that DJI do not have HDMI output. So if you did want HDMI output, you want to consider going for a GoPro, unfortunately. Overall, I do honestly think the Osmo Action is a better camera than any of the GoPros available today. I would take it hands down every time. Ease of use, functionality, the RockSteady, it just wins in all of the right places and ticks all of the right boxes. Price-wise, the Osmo Action comes in at $349 in the US and £329. Depending on what deals are around, officially it does come in cheaper than the GoPro equivalent. Now, if you're looking at getting one or you're interested in buying one, there is a link to it in the description of this video. I would really appreciate it if you'd like to support the channel and use the links that are in the description. It's only by you guys purchasing via them am I able to keep making videos like this. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe. There's a button in the bottom right hand corner over down by there somewhere, and I will do another video again soon. Please do subscribe to the channel and check out all of the other videos we have available. They are also split into playlists to help you easily find the ones that are relevant to you. If you would like to support the channel, please check out the links that are in the description for each video. You will find the links for the products we've been talking about, and it's only by you guys purchasing via these links that allows us to keep making videos and buy products to talk about in the future. Please also check us out and follow us on all of the social media platforms such as Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. We're beginning to build these accounts up, and whilst it is early days, I would appreciate it if you would like, share and follow us on these platforms. Finally, please also check out my website, www.madrc.com. Now, this is somewhere that we've been putting some of our blog posts and things like that over the last couple of years. So if you're interested in having a look, please do go check it out. That is it. Please do click that subscribe button. Thank you very much, and I will do another video again soon.